Hey, I'm Jessie Klassen. I'm a worship leader here at New Creation Praise Center. I've been here about 5 years leading worship, and yeah, that's just what I love to do. I had written a song, I had reached out to some friends, kind of tossed it back and forth with some people, and they kind of encouraged me to take it to the next step of getting it professionally produced. I got in touch with a mutual friend at South Plains College, and he actually said, you should get in touch with Kris, because Kris is really good with the worship thing. He's kind of got the ear for it, and so I got in touch with him, and yeah, the rest is history.
Working with Jessie, even getting his demo, he really has an ear for production. There's a lot of little bits and bobs that even from the original demo, there's some tracks that are in there. He had a really good ear for what he wanted for the song and where it needed to go, and he just needed a little bit of extra help kind of getting it over the finish line and creating something that was big and powerful.
When I brought things to him, I thought he was very understanding with kind of what I was trying to say, even if maybe I couldn't exactly say what I thought, but Kris did a really great job of bridging the gap between musician, artist, writer, and production, that sort of thing.
We kind of went over a few things. I think we looked at lyrics. I think we looked at a few choices in melody. There really wasn't a whole lot that we changed there, but it was just bringing it together. I was trying to get a sense of what he wanted in the song and where he wanted it to go. So from that point on, we were looking at what instrumentation did we need to add to it, what did we need to do virtually, what did we need to get real musicians in on. So I had a drummer friend. He came in and just nailed the parts. We added some fun like marching snare stuff to it. And we had a recording day with Jessie doing all the guitar tracks. And this guy is a great guitar player, and his tone is just on point. So it was really easy to just get what we wanted out of the tracks, just layer stuff in and make it full, and just kind of taking it just up by a notch, just enough so where it takes it to the next level.
I think my favorite part of working with Kris is probably just his good-natured, humor. It felt very pressures off in the studio. This was my first time going into a studio in this sense. I think I was definitely kind of nervous going into it, and what if I don't play my parts correctly? What if I can't sing the line, or what if I'm out of tune, or what if I'm pitching, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I can just say that the atmosphere that he brings to a recording session is very professional, but at the same time, I never felt pressure to just like get my best take every time or whatever. He was cracking jokes and listening to music even a little bit in between and getting stuff set up. And
I really enjoyed just hanging out with Jessie. I feel like we have similar senses of humor and just connecting on worship music and on church culture and the purpose behind everything. It's always a joy to work with kindred spirits on things, and I felt like we hit it off pretty quickly, and it was just a fun time working with him and just getting to know him a little bit in the process.
The fact that he made himself available to me in a sense that he didn't outprice himself to where I would never be able to work with him. If you're putting stuff out for hundreds of thousands of fans, or if you're putting stuff out for me and my local church community, like I think the level of work is compatible with both of those things. I'm not out there making bank at Spotify, or getting millions of streams or views or whatever. The fact that he worked with me and made himself available in that way, I think is just a great testament. To know that he's also a believer, to know that the things that I'm singing about, the things that I'm trying to convey, these are things that we share a faith. It has been really amazing to see and hear all the people who have come to me and said, "Oh wow, I saw your video, I heard your song, I listened to it on Spotify or on Apple Music." It's been a blessing just to see the reaction from even just my local church community here. Only God knows what the kingdom impact is, but it has been really cool to just see even some people in the community that I don't know who have said, "Hey, I listened to your song," and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, "Oh wow, random, like cool, that's really awesome," right?
That's one thing I love about working with worship leaders who are from smaller communities, because there is such a wealth of songwriting talent, but they may not necessarily have the resources to produce stuff like we hear it all the time.
Kris's style of producing is pretty laid back, very accommodating, and very intentional about really trying to capture what my intention of the song was, and not just saying, "Hey, let's make this other thing," or whatever. He's really protective of making sure that the artist's vision and the artist's song is still intact. My song didn't become something totally different.
It was practically the same song. It just needed a little bit of extra, needed some special little touches and just things to bring it into the modern mixing world and just making it feel big and powerful.
The initial idea that I brought to Kris and what it eventually became through his ability to elevate the material a little bit. You know, hey, what if we do this here or there? You know, throw in a little bit of touches and all that kind of stuff, and just, you know, that little magical element, whatever that he put in there. I've heard my demo so many times, and I've listened to it in my car, and I've listened to it on different things, right? And so you get used to hearing it a certain way, and you get used to thinking that it can't really be a different way in a sense. I hear what I've recorded, and I only have a certain ability, and so I don't think it can go past that, right? Hearing my original demo now, and then hearing the final product of what Kris was able to make, the little accents that he'll do, the ideas that he has for fills and for, you know, like, hey, here would be a great spot for some of this right here or whatever. And so to me, that was so valuable, was to get a professional's ear on my track and see it be able to take a new form and see it elevate to a new height that I would have never been able to take it to on my own.
We're so used to, in this modern world, hearing stuff produced and full and big and perfect. And it's hard to do that starting out, you know, in production world and mixing your own stuff and recording your own stuff. And so I love having the ability to take people's work and help realize their vision for it.